And I think an absolutely vital step of getting through Act 2 and 3 solo is going to be getting these 3 extra brain worms that the Githyanki doctor has here. So, I gotta take her out. Welcome back to Sneaky Frank making his way through Faerun solo. If you missed last episode, I stole the owlbear cub, and that leaves me with 2 main things I want to get done before I leave Act 1. I want to find the thieves under Joaquin's Rest, and I want to steal all the brain worms from the Githyanki Creche. Now hold everything. The most important part before I begin anything, I gotta pet Scratch, because last episode I also got Scratch, and he's chilling in my camp. You don't pet the dog, why are you playing the game? Alright, moving on to go take out the hyenas on my way over to Joaquin's Rest. Alright, now this might be kind of a tough fight for me being solo, because there's a lot of hyenas and gnolls around that do quite a bit of damage. So my hope here is that I can sneak up to them, stealth kill some of the hyenas before they even turn into gnolls, and then hopefully the rest don't kill me. That's kind of the whole plan, I guess. I don't know. We'll figure out how this goes. Alright, so luckily I was able to stealth kill a couple of them. I got 2 before they turned into gnolls. And then once the gnolls popped out and one hyena ran away to alert the rest of the gnolls that are much stronger and further up the hill, I had the ones down here mostly killed. So once the ones from up top started moving down, I dropped a cloud of daggers on them. This worked fantastically, and the gnolls just couldn't help but run right through the daggers, mostly because they're shiny or something. Or maybe they're just gnolls. I don't know, not important. Anyways, I used my Luck of the Farm's ability to take out the last newborn gnoll, and then I started sprinting down the path, because if I stood there too long, those archers were going to tear me to pieces. Alright, to save some time and summarize the rest of this fight for you, it went pretty boring. I moved down the road, I kept shooting arrows at the gnolls, and eventually once I was out of range, I left the fight because I was taking too much damage. I'll go back and finish off the rest later. And I thought I was in a much worse position because I went back to go take out the remaining ones, and it turns out there was 1 remaining one. I definitely could have stayed and fought that one, but oh well, I took it down and then looted the surrounding area. This was a fantastic place to get a bunch of food and whatnot, so now I can long rest as much as I want, so that is fantastic. Next up, important plot, lore stuff, yada yada, Karlach, don't really care, not getting her in my party anyways. Moving on, Joaquin's Rest, except first, Traitor, Baldur, random crap. Okay, now Joaquin's Rest, goodbye. Now I got into Joaquin's Rest, and I thought, you know what, alright, I can try to save Duke Ravenguard here. I gave the door an old heave-ho, it didn't go anywhere, so, yeah, I gave up. I gave up on that really quick. He can just sit in there. Or if he's not in there, oh well. I'm gonna go over to the, suspicious shed over here that's quite boxed off, and there's a man sitting there just staring at me ominously in the corner. I know there's a Thieves Guild under here, and I know those gnolls stole their shipment. So I want to go down, talk to the leader real quick, maybe work out a little bit of a deal. Did I go get the chest, bring the chest back, and I want to see where their plotline goes. Because in my main playthrough of this game, I messed this part up and murdered all of them on accident. And by accident, I mean I just murdered them because they got mad at me. But I want to see where this plotline goes, so I'm going to take advantage here. I'm going to bring them their chest. I'll be going back to beat the rest of the gnolls, the much harder to defeat gnolls, right now. Now these gnolls here are going to be a significant challenge for me. There's a lot of them, and there's a couple that are very strong. So there's 2 ways I think I can approach this. I can either come around from the back cave, that I know there's a couple caravan guards sitting in there, and have them help me with the fight, or I can come around from the other side, and while they're fighting those caravan guards, start picking them off from the outside and hope they don't all aggro on me. I'm gonna try first to come around from the back side, and hopefully they don't aggro on me. I decided my best first move would be move up this little hill here, and sneak attack this one gnoll on the hill. I missed. Oh dear, okay. That's okay, they're surprised. I'll just get in my Luck of the Far Realms and attack it, and oh, the big one's coming up to get me. I've decided very quickly that this side is not the way to attack from. I think I'm gonna go around through the cave, and then hopefully use the other 2 caravan guards as meat shields, perhaps. I mean, no, not meat shields, I mean honorably ally with them in the defense of their cargo. I want their chest, I don't care if they live or die. But anyways, I had to make it through the cave back here to get to them, and I don't know why I thought this was a good idea, honestly. I decided, you know what I should do? Because I missed detection on the tripwire, I should just go up on this platform, and then I can throw a fireball and set off the rock. Now, I didn't consider, 1, I was out of range, and it made me climb down the ladder anyways, and 2, when I hit the rock, it was going to destroy that platform I was going to be on anyways, so I got smacked with a big old boulder, because I'm a big old idiot. But it's okay, I lived, I can move on, I can continue this fight. I moved on through the cave and met up with my meat shields, I mean honorable compatriots in battle, and made my way over to start fighting the gnolls. So my opening move was to throw down a cloud of daggers at the entrance of the cave to add additional damage to all the gnolls entering, as well as the fire damage. But then something weird happened. I encountered a very weird bug. I was completely unable to move. I'm clicking around all over the place, and Sneaky Frank's not moving. He's just like, nope, I'm sitting here, don't care. And I was about to reset but I waited to see what happened, and the other guys were doing some good damage, and the gnolls were getting really injured, and I thought, you know what? This isn't a bug that's helping me in the game. This is not making it easier. This is actually making it significantly harder. So if I can beat this fight with this bug going on too, this is a win-win. I've made it harder on myself. So you know what? Let's keep going. This Cloud of Daggers was probably the best Cloud of Daggers I've ever had. Hyenas are literally just running in, running through the daggers, running to the fire, and immediately dying. Just done. Okay. But I, for some reason, was still trying to move, and it just teleported me back towards the way I came into the cave, and I've not clicked over there before, so that's weird. I guess I've got to go with an arrow attack this turn because I can't move. And even though I decided to skip the Luck of the Far Realms, I lucked out and killed this gnoll anyways. And during the gnoll's turn, they, blew up Rugen. He's gone. But that leaves me with 2 heavily injured gnolls, and me and 1 extra archer left here, so I think this is looking pretty good. I considered using a concentrated blast since my Cloud of Daggers I was focusing on was no longer doing anything since all the gnolls are in the cave here. But I decided I was going to just go with a standard arrow and take out this heavily injured gnoll. Now this left Ollie the chance to come down and die tragically. He missed and then the gnoll just destroyed him. But that's okay because it's a one-on-one now. Me and the lead gnoll. This is getting spicy. Now here is where that concentrated blast I was saving comes in handy. Because I hit that gnoll with a concentrated blast and it did not as much as I was hoping. It only did 10 damage. But that's still pretty good here. So I moved back, and the gnoll hit me, but that gave me the opportunity to use a Hellish Rebuke, which did a very paltry 4 damage, and oh boy, this is not going as well as I would have hoped. Now, I considered my options heavily for this turn, and I decided, you know what? Sneaky Frank's better close range with his daggers than he is long range. So I moved up, did a melee attack, landed both of them, did some serious damage. And this turned out to be an even better decision because the gnoll decided to use a ranged attack on me, and they missed horribly. So this is looking good now. And now throughout this whole fight, I've been holding off and using that Luck of the Far Realms. There's a couple times where it might have helped me out, but this is what I was saving it for when I get in a moment like this, because that's low enough health where I'm using the Luck of the Far Realms and I blew up the gnoll. That gnoll is done. Fight over, I won. Even though things were glitching a little bit at the beginning, I'm very glad it let me move at the end, because if I was still stuck at the end, I probably would have died. Now with the fight over, that means I can finally pick up the whole reason I was here. The chest that's supposed to go to the thieves under Joaquin's Rest, and I left it unopened to make sure not to piss them off. May have opened it in my other run, and they were not happy about that. So I'm gonna leave it alone. And this also gives me time here to pick a new Brain Worm ability. So I'm gonna use my Wiggly Brain friend here to pick the Psionic Backlash ability, which lets me hit mages for some extra damage when they cast a spell. Hopefully this will help me take out some long-range enemies before I can even get to them. So I made my way straight back to the thieves under Joaquin's Rest and talked to Zaris. I think that's how you pronounce her name, you know, the underground mole woman that runs a black market. Gave her the chest, she was super thankful, gave me a whole big pile of money, and a crossbow named Harold. Don't really know why the crossbow's named Harold, but hey, I'll take it. I can't use it because it's a heavy crossbow, but I'll still take it. And she offered for me to meet her in Baldur's Gate, so I assume this is going to lead to a very interesting storyline here, and hopefully more cool items. And even if I can't use them, Sneaky Frank loves him some cool items. I'm just going to put them up on a wall and just stare at them. You know, have a nice cup of tea, just stare at my swords on the wall and just think, wow, I can't lift that because I'm weak, but hey, it looks nice on the wall. Yeah, who are we kidding? Sneaky Frank will never be a homeowner. Interest rates are way too high and he is way too irresponsible with his money. Instead, you know, maybe I'll just kind of live in a tree somewhere. That sounds more Sneaky Frank-esque. I'll stab the swords into the tree, still have a cup of tea, look at them and go, wow, that sword's stuck in a tree. I can't pull it out because I'm too weak. Where am I going with this? I know exactly where I'm going with this now. I'm going to move up to the mountain pass here so I can hopefully progress the story and move on to the Shadow Curse lands. I considered going through the Underdark, but man, everything down there is really strong, and Sneaky Frank's really squishy, and there's big monsters down there. Yeah, there's mushroom people, and they kind of weird me out. I'm not going down there. Maybe I'll go down there when I'm stronger and I can go back and not explode in like 2 turns, but for now, I'm gonna go over to the mountain pass. That sounds better. So I moved up to go talk to the Githyankis here, and I found out Lae'zel's not still stuck in that cage. I was kind of wondering how I'd get through this part with her being stuck in that cage, but the game said, hey, you know what? Here's Lae'zel for you. She's back. She's gonna help you out at the perfect moment, so that's nice of them to do. But Lae'zel here, she got us in a little trouble. I let her lead the conversation because I figured, oh, Githyanki can talk to Githyanki, great. No, she pissed them off when they attacked us, and I died. So, not doing that next time. Alright, now, this time around, Lae'zel, just stand back there. Don't say a word. That guy's killed last time. I'm on this. Don't worry about it. I'm on this. I just brought up the point to this guy here that, you know what? You would have already killed us if you didn't want something, and, critical success. Perfect. And I brought up the point that, you know what? Maybe I could be of use here. And he tried to read my brain, and because I'm a warlock, I was like, no, block that. And he thought, oh, wow, there's nothing going on in his head, which is, in fact, very true. There's not a single word going on in Sneaky Frank's head. Look at that, man. There's nothing up there. That's empty. There's not a single thought bouncing around in there. Golden Retriever thinks more than he does. Man. Whew. But anyways, not to the point. I offered up, you know what? I can help find this weapon. And he thought, I'll let him live. Let's see what this guy can do. Let's let him work. I probably don't have anything. I'm hiding the weapon. Don't worry about it. But, we'll see what happens here. I'm going to move on now. Goodbye. And this means I am finally able to move on to the next area of this game. I'm going up to the mountain pass, and I can finally take on that Githyanki Creche. Hopefully. I want their brainworms. There's brainworms in there. I want them. And this led to a cutscene where I was sitting in camp just staring at the artifact like, wow, it's so shiny. What does it mean? And Sneaky Frank, of course, not the wisest one, failed the check on that, so I still have absolutely no idea what this thing is, what it does, but hey, Sneaky Frank rolls on. So, I started making my way down this mountain pass towards that Githyanki Creche I know is down there because worms. And I ran into Lady Esther, the first person you find here, who is a trader that wants to buy a Githyanki egg to perform social experiments on her or something. And we had a lengthy social discussion, but I wound up saying, hey look, I've got an egg right here. But the chat option here was just way too tempting. There's a chat option that says, no, this is an owlbear egg, I just like it. And that is such a Sneaky Frank answer. That is exactly what Sneaky Frank would say, so I had to pick that one. I could have tried to trick her and get money, but I had to pick it. Of course, she was like, okay, cool, put it away, go get me the Githyanki egg. And you know what? I'll go do that. I'll go now. So I came across quite the interesting scene when I came to the temple here. There was some Githyanki rounding up some Absolute cultists they found, and man, I'm not a fan of the Absolute, but oh boy, these Githyanki are quite brutal. I don't know about their techniques, but hey, okay then, I'm just gonna move past that and come in and steal their brainworms and possibly buy a dagger I know down there that's very cool. Anyways, moving on. Now, before I go down there, there's a big pile of easy experience right here called Drunk Kobolds chilling in a room. If I take them out, I might actually be able to level up before I head down to the Githyanki Creche down there, and in case I get into a fight, have a little extra health and a little extra damage. Now, I tried to light the whole room on fire because there's a whole bunch of fire wine, and that went okay, except that it pissed off all the kobolds, so I went through and made quick work of them by putting down a cloud of daggers right at the entrance to the door, so if they wanted to come get me, they had to run through and take a whole ton of damage. This was, piece of cake, easy experience. Now, after this fight, I was quite damaged, so I did a long rest, and when I went back to camp, oh my god, I got the best cutscene ever in the game. Scratch found a ball, and oh my god, you can play with Scratch. This is so good. This game, incredible. Game of the year easily. You get to play with the dog. It's so good. Now, I suspected that I would need to have Lizeo with me to get into this Githyanki Creche here, but as it turns out, Sneaky Frank is quite the smooth talker, and somehow got in under the threat of death if I mess anything up, so I'm gonna count that as smooth talking, but that's probably just a death threat. But hey, we're in. That's all that matters. Now, as I stated before, I have two goals for this. I want to get the blade from the trader here, and I want to get the brain worms from the doctor. I decided to go with getting the blade of the Undermountain King from the trader here in case me, taking the brain worms from the soon-to-be-deceased doctor turns out badly and the trader doesn't want to trade with me anymore. So, blade purchased. This will be, a very nice weapon to use here. And the reason I wanted this dagger specifically is because the stats on it are awesome. The critical hit rate is 19 and 20 instead of just 19, and if I roll 2 damage or less, I re-roll the dice and take the higher result. And also, it gives me advantage on attack rolls when I am lightly or heavily obscured, so when Sneaky Frank is stealthing around, that means better stabby. And somewhere back here that I'm genuinely not sure, probably when I uncovered something in this temple, I actually leveled up to level 5. And I thought about it, whether I wanted to go with level 2 of Rogue or go with level 4 of Warlock. Level 2 of Rogue gives me back those bonus actions of dash, disengage, and all of that, so I can use that as my bonus and main action if I really need to escape. So I just kept it simple and went with level 2 Rogue to get those back. And now it's time to go test out that dagger on probably not the target that the trader thought I was going to be used on. The doctor that has all the brainworms down here. So I made my way down to the infirmary, talked with her, she lectured me on why I don't know much about the brainworms, yada yada, don't care, I need them. So, did a backstab on her, did a pile of damage, left her with only 11 health left, which made quick work for just one more easy attack. Now, I hope that everyone else outside this door here did not hear what was going on, because they'll be, quite mad. Now, this room here contains 3 brain worms, so I'm about to get some serious Wiggly Friend upgrades right here. So the two main upgrades I wanted to get here was Charm and then Stage Fright. Now, I had to unlock Sonic Overload first to get to Stage Fright, but these 3 extra worms mean I'm going to have some serious power-ups for getting into Act 2 here, because I am just about there. And because I have 3 more, that makes my Call the Weak ability just that much stronger. And incredibly luckily, no one outside heard what was going on, so that means I am free to leave this Githyanki Creche and move my way on to Act 2. And there's only one thing blocking me in the way of that, and it is a whole bunch of undead that are on a hill that are right in the way to the Shadow Curse lands. Oh boy, these might actually be kind of interesting to fight. There's a lot of them. Now, this part of the game is quite a pain even if you have a party, because it's not because of the ghouls, it's not because of the Death Shepherds, it's a very specific ability that the Death Shepherds have. They can bring back any other undead around them, which means they can bring back ghouls, which is not the big problem, but if one Death Shepherd is left, it can bring back the other Death Shepherd, which means unless you kill them in the same turn, or get very lucky and they don't bring back the other one, they just keep coming back. And for a party, this would be a pain, but for Sneaky Frank alone, this is a massive problem, because I can really only target one thing at once, and that makes it very hard to take out 2 of them right in the same turn. So, the only way I was able to beat this fight here was I dropped down an explosive barrel at the top of the road that's all trapped. I made my way up there, brought all of them down towards me, moved away from the explosive barrel, blew it up, took out a whole bunch of ghouls, and did some serious damage to the Death Shepherds. And I kept working my way down the road, kept taking them out, back and forth, until eventually I got super lucky, and one of the Death Shepherds decided, the last Death Shepherd's too far away. I'm going to bring back a ghoul instead, which gave me the opportunity to just knock that last Death Shepherd out, and then I'm left with only ghouls, and from there, it wasn't too bad. That means I am finally able to make my way on to Act 2. And with those Death Shepherds done, that means Sneaky Frank can finally step into the Shadow Curse lands and completely be scared out of his mind. But that means that he successfully survived Act 1, completely solo. He might have died many times on the way, but he's in Act 2 now. And that means that's a perfect spot to end this video. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love if you hit that like button down below, and if you're looking forward to seeing what happens in Act 2, consider hitting that subscribe button. I want to thank you all for watching this far through the series, and if you haven't seen the other videos before this, I'd love if you went and checked them out. I'd like to think they're pretty good, and you can see how Sneaky Frank got to this point. And next up, I'll be making a quick recap video of everything that happened so you can catch up and get ready for Act 2, and then we move on to the Shadow Curse lands. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and by the way, I've been saving bloopers from all the voiceovers I make for these videos, so stay tuned for a bloopers video along with the recap.